Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second story of the chapter Two Stories About Flying. Now, the name of the story is The Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Fawcett. Let's start with a short introduction. The lesson Black Aeroplane by Frederick Fawcett reflects on how one's judgment gets distorted due to fantasizing and how it creates problems. In this chapter, the narrator is a pilot who is so eager to meet his family and have a good breakfast that he takes the wrong decision of facing the storm instead of doing the right thing. Miraculously, he somehow manages to escape with the help of a mysterious aeroplane. Now let's start with the chapter. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in this clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. Now it was night time when the sky was clear and the star could be seen twinkling. The pilot, who was the narrator, was feeling quite happy. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward of being with my family. I looked at my watch. 1:30 in the morning. Now the pilot was feeling very peaceful in being above a country that had fallen asleep while he was flying over France to England. It was 1:30 in the morning and he was fantasizing about holidaying with his family. I should call Paris control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, "Paris Control Dakota DS-088 here. Can you hear me? I'm trying. I am on my way to England. Over." The voice from the radio answered him immediately. "DS-088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS-088, over." Now, when the aeroplane was in France, the pilot, who was the narrator, he thought of informing the Paris control personnel about its presence and for some instructions. Now at that time, the lights from the Paris city were blaring at him. He informed the control agency, to which they replied with further instructions on direction. The control room at Paris instructed him to turn 12 degrees towards the west. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good, big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds, they were huge. Now, after receiving the instructions, the pilot geared up and followed them while putting the last fuel tank into operation. All this time he was dreaming about his time with his family, and then he started thinking about how he would be having a satisfactory breakfast at the destination point. He was calm as everything was going as planned. Now suddenly, when Paris was just about 150 kilometers behind him, he saw clouds in the sky, and these were not ordinary clouds, but these were storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Now, the clouds that he saw in the sky were so huge and dark that the pilot compares them with Black Mountain. He knew he couldn't pass them as it was impossible to go above them or escape them with the amount of fuel that was left in the last tank. The right decision would have been to fly back to Paris safely, but the pilot's decision making was clouded by his wish to meet his family. He was so desperately wanting to be with his family and have that big English breakfast that he was dreaming all day, that suddenly he decided to take the big risk of not going back to Paris. He headed the plane right into the storm because he decided that he'll take the risk of going into the storm and just see what happens. Inside the cloud, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass and couldn't believe my eyes. Now, it was so dark because of the storm that the pilot could see nothing. He started losing control over the plane. We see here the compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Now the compass and the other instruments in the plane were all not working. The pilot felt he was actually not able to control the plane anymore, and he almost became helpless. So he tried even the radio. I hope this much is clear. We will continue the second part of the story in the next video. Thank you.